Hi. So welcome to Slack, aka what does the dolphin mean? And my clicker is deciding to not work on me already. Wow. Come on, clicker.
I can.
Okay, well, we're going to do that. Hi, I'm John. I'm a lead desktop engineer and Mac admin, and my handle is Tuxedo. I usually hang out on Slack, but I'm also on Twitter and GitHub. And on Slack, I'm generally in the general channel as well as the back room. And I usually hang out in the Monkey Report channel because I write tons of modules for Monkey Report. And next up, we have our dear Louise. Or, yeah, Louise. Or
Hi,
Alex.
I'm Louise. No, I'm not Louise. I'm Alex, and I am a senior help desk analyst for a company called Sprinkler, which is a front office platform. And we have about 1,800 machines, and about 90% of them are Macs. You can usually find me in a whole bunch of channels, but the main ones are audiovisual, job chat, and LGBTQ. Lots of fun people, lots of fun conversations. And mostly you can find me talking about cats, food, or puns. So speaking of animals, I'm going to hand it off to our friend Lemur, who's going to introduce herself.
Hi, hi, I'm the disembodied voice. I'm Louise, known as Mac Lemur. You can find me on the Slack channels as Mac Lemur or on Twitter at Vaza Lemur, usually talking about food, lemurs, cheese. So I'm going to hand it off to Tux to talk about what is Slack.
So, what is Slack? Slack is basically a giant chat room, and it has full of channels and a whole bunch of other really awesome things. And I'm reading the wrong slides. So it's basically a giant chat room. There's 27,000 different users all across the world, and we talked about everything from Apple, iPads, Mac administration, and there's so many off-topic channels for pretty much everything you can ever want. And we even have a few Windows channels for those of you who unfortunately have to deal with Windows in your day-to-day life, like Alex.
That's so unfair. Anyway, so to sign up, all you have to do is go to macadmins.org. Some of you have probably already done this, so this might be a little bit redundant, but all you need to do is add your email, sign off on our wonderful code of conduct, and you'll get an invite. Once you have your email information, you can actually sign in on the macadmins.slack.com, enter your info, and when you sign in, you'll immediately be greeted by a wonderful Slackbot. We're going to talk a little bit more about him later, and he'll ask you some things like upload your avatar, find and join some channels, tell you about formatting. But besides the website, you actually have a couple of different options to accessing Slack. So you have native Mac and Windows applications. You have iOS and Android apps, and then you also have some like other like third-party apps such as like Franz or Station. You can look them up; they're pretty cool. And I'm gonna hand this back over to Tux, who's gonna Lemur actually,
Lemur.
who's gonna talk about who owns Slack.
Hello again. So the question is, who owns this Slack? Slide. The three people listed on the screen are the actual owners of Slack, and you can reach them at their Slack handles listed after their name. The next question, of course, is who are the admins? Who keeps us in line? These are the admins of Slack. You've probably read most of their blogs, talked to them in person, either online, here, at PSU. They are around the world, so if you ever have an issue or need to talk to someone, you'll be able to find them by just pinging them, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. So how do we contact an admin? There are three ways to reach an admin. If you are in a thread on the channels, you can type @admins. Every admin will be notified, and that will let them know to, hey, there's something here at the channel you have to look at. Can you please come take a look-see? You can go to the channel about this Slack, post a question, one of the admins will take a look at it and mosey over and see what's going on. or you can send a DM to an admin. You can do this if you know the admin personally and it involves a private channel that they happen to be in. So we're thinking, how much does this Slack cost? Nothing. One of the admins works for Slack, and they have graciously provided free of charge to the Mac admin community. Channels. What are channels? And we're not really talking like CBS or Showtime. Channels are different rooms within Slack. Think of them as like the old AOL chat rooms where you have various topics or subjects. Channels include CBS, Showtime, and other focus areas like the various flavors of Mac OS. Areas of IT like security, printing, virtualization. You have vendor-focused channels like Jamf, AirWatch, Jira, Monkey, or Microsoft. You even have general topics like education. And there are location-based channels such as New York or PSU. There are some default channels. The default channels are listed here on screen. Announcements. This is where people announce various things like don't break NDAs, or Slack is down, or hey, PSU is opening. You can also have a default channel about Ask the Slack. This is where you can post questions about Slack. General is for general stuff, chatting about anything without a specific topic. Then you also have getting started. Like, how do I get started with Slack? We have some specialty channels. Just went over about the Slack and announcements and backroom in general. You have stuff like for sale or free stuff. Do we really need Let It Go or eBay? If you have that really old Mac that you want to get rid of, you can post it there. You have stuff like job boards and job chat. So if you want to post a job posting, post it in jobs board. If you want to talk about jobs, anything job related, you can go post that question in jobs chat. Then you have specialty channels like PSU. This is focused specifically on a specific topic. So PSU is specifically talking about PSU. Pro tips. Pro tips is where if you mark a comment as a pro tip, this is where they'll go. A pro tip is a comment that is so good, it's marked as what a pro would do. And then there's some other specialty channels. Mac Women. Mac Women is the publicly facing channel for the private Mac Women's channel. If you wish to join, just post in there and say, hey, I'd like to join. And one of the women in the channel will be able to add you to this channel. And then there are other specialty channels like the LGBTQ channel. Both the women's channel and the LGBT channel are focused on topics and subjects that would affect our various communities. The LGBT one really talks about food, cheese, baking, and cookies, but occasionally also topics that affect the community.
So I think
Now, Alex will tell us how to find channels.
Yeah, so when it comes to finding channels, so there's a couple of different ways that you can actually do this. My way, when I first joined Mac Admins, was to click Browse and scroll manually through every single channel. So that's like over 600 something channels. I had a large cup of coffee at the time, just because I wanted to see, what I could find. I could have also used searched, and lots of times nowadays I will search for a certain topic, search for certain acronyms, and usually that will kind of help narrow down the options. And honestly, you have situations where you can just make a channel. If it's not there, if you browse, if you search, and you've confirmed it doesn't exist, why not just make it? So let me just go here. So that goes into, well, how do I actually make a channel? So you heard me earlier talking about how if it doesn't exist, just make it. So I had a situation where I've started working on Mimecast, and I've taken that over from one of my associates. And I found that there's no Mimecast channel. So I made it. And I'll show you right after this a little demo on like actually how to make channels. But I made sure that I had a relevant name, Mimecast, and I made it public so that anyone could find it. So you heard me mention public, and then I also mentioned private. What is private? It's exactly what it sounds like. It's a channel that does not show up in search results. It is a situation where you must be invited into them, and admins cannot see or access them unless they are invited to them. And now I'm going to go through a quick little demo on how to find channels. So it is super easy. I just go to the channel section over here, and I can easily start browsing through all the channels. You can see why this took me a little while to get through all these channels. A long time. Anyway.
Do you have like a top 10 that everybody should join?
I'll just read for you. Get the box out there.
Do you have like a top 10 that everybody should join?
I don't specifically have a top 10. I know earlier some of the ones that we brought up were, I think, kind of like some of the major ones. Top 10 wise, that's a little bit hard because everyone's role can be so different. So for like how I mentioned earlier, I was in the audiovisual was one of the ones I mentioned. That one was great for conference room stuff. And then I was in the job chat one, not necessarily because I'm looking for a job. It was more of a situation of they talk a lot about what's going on in as far as the job market. So that was an interesting one to me. But I mean, if you're a G Suite person, there's one for G Suite. If you are an AD situation, you can jump into AD. So when it comes to top 10 suggestions, don't actually have that for you. But those are like kind of some general ones I would talk about. Going back into our little demo here, if I type in Apple, you'll see anyone that falls into the Apple category. Essentially, I've decided right now, I'm gonna make a channel. I'm gonna make a public one. It's not gonna be Apple, because Apple's so old school. We're now gonna move on to cheese. So I'm going to create a channel called Cheese. Its purpose, we're going to talk about purpose later on, so I'm going to leave that blank for now. And I'm going to send an invite to Mac Lemur because I know that she is a cheese fan. And my friend here, Tuxedo, is also a cheese fan. Now, I could just make this channel and not invite anyone, but I want to make sure that they get the information. So Slack will prompt you sometimes with a couple little helpful tidbits. But for now, let's go back to cheese. We now have cheese created. And look at that, Mac Lemur is already jumping in on the cheese. I know you want to say something. Just say it. You love cheese. Anyway, that's just a quick little demo on how to actually create channels. We're going to, I see that there's some people that are going to be joining. I'm going to jump out of this, though, for now. And don't worry, cheese will come back later on. But let's get back to talking about messages. Message time. So I don't think it needs to be said. Messages are communications between two or more people. They can be public or private, as I mentioned earlier about channels. They can also be direct messages or threads. Threads I'm going to go into in a little bit. And of course, pictures and attachments are welcome. Slack is known for letting you attach almost anything. When it comes to messages, you can actually edit your message. Some people, that's a question that I've heard a couple of times. But you can only edit it within 5 minutes of posting. So if it happens to be longer than that, then you can no longer edit the message. Messages cannot be deleted. If you try to remove all the text because you're like, oh, well, I could just remove all the text and I'll delete it, it'll just strike through the message that you had there. So kind of keep that in mind when posting messages. If it's something that you really, really need it, like, oh my God, I can't believe I typed that, you can reach out to an admin and they'll be able to delete or edit the message for you. Now, you heard me mention threads. Threads are kind of like breakaway conversations. So you have that main channel, let's just say, where all the action is happening, and then you can have little break-off conversations on the side called threads. They appear on the top left side of your channel or above channels, and that's like your notification. So if you click on threads, it's going to show you all the threaded conversations that you're in, and updates will also appear there as well. So if you're like, oh my God, I'm like in like 6 threads, and wait, did someone like respond to my thread? You'll be able to see them there. They are not Singer sewing machine compatible, so I don't recommend putting a sewing machine near your laptop or near Slack itself. And thread replies can also be sent back to the channel. So, sorry. If there's a situation, like I was in the audio-visual channel at one point, talking about conference room equipment, and we needed to find a speaker, camera phone, microphone combo. So we kind of, a person that was in there started talking with me, and we kind of took it off to the side, and we're like going like, hey, you know, this would be good. No, this would be good. And at the very end, I was like, okay, no, we actually have this one thing. Everyone should know about this. There's a little check mark when you reply in a thread that will let you put it back into the channel. So they'll be able to click on the that threaded, like, it'll show that there's a response in the main channel, and it'll also show the thread, so they can click through, read through that, be like, hey, wow, there's like other suggestions that might be more relevant to me in there. And with messages comes formatting. Formatting is super easy. All you need to do is put one of these characters either in the beginning or the middle, or the beginning and the end of a word, a sentence, and it'll format that whole thing with the intention. So let's say I wanted to bold something, and I'm going to kind of go over that as well in a little bit of a demo. And snippets. Snippets have a special place because I like to think of snippets as and formatting as kind of a way to make things visually accessible and organizing information. Snippets are collapsible blocks of text. They're used for sharing codes or scripts or just wall of text. So if you just have a lot of information, you don't want to clutter the whole channel, so then people are like, wait, I can't see what the conversation was, so it can get a little like overwhelming. So perfect situation example would be I took over Jamp for a colleague of mine when he left the company that I'm at right now. He had some scripts, and those scripts stopped working, and I was like, wait, I need to get these updated. So I went to the script channel, and I used a snippet to post the script, and someone was able to be like, hey, like, in response, you might need to do this to update it. So it's kind of like really useful for sharing large batches of text or information. And we're now getting to that point where we have like situations where we've talked to different channels, we've had threads, we've exchanged a whole bunch of information, we have suggestions. You're like, oh my God, there's so much in Slack, but I don't know where to find it. Well, finding a message is going to help you out there. In the search bar in the upper right-hand corner, you can just start typing away. And I love using this for like error messages. So if I get an error message, like I had a thing with Jamp, I popped it in there and I was able to see, hey, these people were getting the same error message and it was in this channel. Oh, wow, I found the answer right there. So I didn't even need to like ask the question again and again and again. It was already answered. You can narrow down searches by date, user, or channel. And Command F also works, which is always wonderful. So we're going to do another little demo right here. And remember, oh, that's a very good, I like Gouda. So when it comes to cheese, I'm going to go back to Maclean over here. And I'm going to start this thread right here. So did someone mention cheese? Yes. I mentioned that I love Swiss. Oh, I gotta spell Swiss correctly. So now MacLeamer will have in the upper left-hand corner, like right here. This isn't light up right now for me because she hasn't responded, but on her end, she'll now see that she got a notification. This is getting cheesy. Now, I actually realized that I don't really like Swiss. So I'm going to go back here and let everyone know it's actually cheddar. So that's how you edit a message. It was less than 5 minutes, so I was able to edit. Things are still getting cheesy here, but let's see. So I just bolded my text there. All I had to do is add an asterisk in the beginning and the end, and oh. And now we're talking about fondue. Oh, and that's an example of an image. And so you see right here, we're having a side conversation, and in the main channel, they're not getting disrupted. I want to see if anyone else has been talking about cheese. So I went into the search panel on the upper right-hand side, and you can see right here, there's actually a savory cheese ball recipe. So I think we've actually solved our problem right here. If I was still not satisfied with my answer, I could actually go through here, narrow down by channel, narrow down by person. Like maybe I want to specifically find Mac Lemur talking about cheese, and also date and time. So that's kind of like a whole amalgamation of all our conversations right there. But I'm going to end off with showing you how to do a snippet. So I click the plus sign right there. I can also add other various types of file, but I want to do code or text snippet. So I'm going to click that. Now I can give it a title. I love the cheese text. Please add some cheesy code here. And I'm just going to fill it up with random text. So I create my snippet, and boom. There's not this whole thing taking up the whole channel and then people being like, I can't see anything. If I click on it, it will expand and I'll be able to see all the cheesy code that's there. It's not really great code at all. So, but we'll come back to cheese again. Now I'm going to give it over to my friend Tux to talk about how do I get people's attention in Slack.
All right, so you can get someone's attention by using a mention. And a mention is pretty much like in Twitter. You put the @ symbol, and then you can use either their username or their actual name. And whenever you do this, it will send a notification to their app and or the device and says, hey, somebody is mentioning you. And it'll usually tell you like a little blurb that says what the actual message is. You cannot mention to the channel or everyone. In some Slack instances you can. However, that has been disabled in the Mac admin Slack because it would be a very big problem if 27,000 people all got a notification at once. There would be many cranky Mac admins all over the world. As Mac Lemur mentioned earlier in the presentation, you can mention the admins with @admins, and that will notify all the admins, and so they can come and look at whatever might be the problem within the slide. And Alex touched upon topics earlier, and so channels can certainly have topics. And they're basically little easy to see channel headers and says, what's the channel about? There's short descriptions that are no longer than 250 characters, and they're similar to a channel purpose. Of course, what are channel purposes? Channel purpose is pretty much the same length, just another description, and you see that within the channel info pane. And then we have pinned messages. Pinned messages are useful messages that can be referenced to. They're answers to commonly asked questions, and they're found in the channel info pane. Pinned messages can be seen by everybody, and they are highlighted for easy referencing in the past. Then we have favorite messages, which Slack calls a starred message. These are messages that you can save for later. They're visible only to you, and they're really, really great for referencing things that you may want to look at in the future or just recall back later on. So now, let's demo these fun things. All right, so we're back here in our magical cheese channel, and we're going to mention Mac Lemur. Mac Lemur. Hey, I have some Swiss. And of course, she got a notification on her web app, her iPhone, her MacBook, whatever, that I have some Swiss, and she's super excited for that Swiss. So now let's go ahead and add a channel topic, and we're going to put everything about cheese, because we really like cheese. And of course, the channel purpose is similar, but we click on the channel details button, and channel details, we're going to set a channel purpose. Pretty much the exact same thing. We're going to do what is cheese, and we're going to put thinking. If I can put the right letter. So now we're thinking, what is cheese? And of course, we see down here that I set the channel topic and the channel purpose. Then now we're going to pin a message. So Courtney, your message is going to get pinned. Today's your lucky day. So we're going to go to the more actions. We're going to pin to cheese. Yes, I want to pin her magical Gouda pun. So it's now been pinned, it's been highlighted, and it shows that it's been pinned by me. If I want to see the pinned message, I click on the pin, and there we have our pinned item, Courtney's Gouda pun. And our last one is we got a star message. Let's look down here. That is a great thing, great poster. I love it. I want to print it out later when I get home. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the star, and it's now been added to my starred items. Now only I can see this been highlighted. No one else can see that I have starred the message. But if I want to see it, I click on the star in the upper right, and there is my starred message. And I can click the view message, and it'll take me right there if I was in another channel. Alright, so that is our demo for that. And of course you saw me use emojis, so does Slack support them? Yes. Slack supports emojis, and we have over 2,000 emojis. It's very comprehensive support for them. We have a whole bunch of new custom emoji, and anyone can add an emoji. And you can react to messages to them, and we even have animated emoji. And can you make your emoji? Yeah, like I just said, you can make your emoji, so sure. How do you do that? First, you check and see if it already exists. So it might be in a different name, so try different names, because we really don't want duplicate emojis. There's already a bunch of duplicates. Let's try not to make more. You can upload an image right from the Slack app. All you need to do is give it a name, make sure it follows the 128 rule, or it's not too big, and it all just fits right. Then you upload it, and it's ready to go. So how do the emojis work within Slack? Well, they're basically little inline pictures. They're not really Unicode, but if you use a Unicode emoji, say for a Mac or an iPhone, it'll translate it into the inline picture so that it can be used on any system that Slack can run, even systems that don't natively support emoji. And so the textual format of an emoji is a colon at the beginning and end. So you see there with the colon PSU Mac colon, that would put in the PSU logo, the PSU Mac admin's logo. And I also mentioned reacting to messages with emojis. And those are called reactji. These have the same principles or same properties as a regular emoji, and some special emojis, when used as a reactji, will send that message to a special purpose channel. And we'll touch on those later on. Are there special emoji? Yes, we do have special emoji. So these are the 4 most commonly used special emojis. We have the raccoon, and this one basically means like, hey, you're off topic in this channel, take it to the designated channel. You'll most likely see this one in the jobs board channel. The jobs board channel isn't really meant for people asking, is this a remote job? Like, what's the pay? What's the benefits? People will react to your message with a raccoon, and that basically means take it to the proper channel. And then we have the dolphin. So we're finally going to learn what the dolphin means. Everyone wants to know what the dolphin means. And it basically means it's a friendly goodbye. So you usually see it whenever someone leaves a channel, they post the dolphin emoji, and then they leave the channel. It's not to be taken as like I'm leaving out of, I don't know, polite leaving, basically. And then we have the pro tip channel. When you use this one, it'll send that message to a special pro tip channel, and it'll just send it right there. The last one is the command clover, and that one is usually used to specify that an admin is speaking through their admin voice, or they're using admin powers to do something like don't do this, don't say that, you're against a code of conduct. And most of the admins usually have the emoji as their status emoji within their profile. So now let's go ahead and demo our emoji, as we all love our emoji. So we're back here in the Slack channel, and we're going to find an emoji. So we're going to click on the little emoji button, and here at the top we have our standard Apple emojis, and at the very far right we have the Slack emoji. And these are our many hundreds of custom emojis. If you download these, they're about 500 megabytes worth of emojis, and they're tiny, but we have lots and lots and lots of emoji. We have, I think, all or most of the Pokemon within here even, and we have many dancing parrots because we love our dancing parrots. So I'm gonna look for an emoji that's about cheese. So I'm gonna search for cheese, and we have a good amount there. I'm liking this block of cheese because it's a cheese wedge. So I'm gonna post that. And there we have our cheese wedge, nice and easy. So now I'm gonna react to a message. Let's see, I'm gonna react to Mac Lemur's nom 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 message. So I'm gonna click the add reaction. Let's see, do we have a mouth? Yes, we have some creepy mouths. I'm gonna click on this one. So now Mac Lemur has lips reacting to her nom 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 message. Now let's go ahead and create an emoji. So I'm going to click on the emoji button. And where's the create emoji button? Oh no. Where has the emoji button gone?
Right there.
Right where? Am I missing it?
You can add custom emoji.
I'm missing it. They've changed that since well, okay, so we're gonna do this because it's not cooperating. Well, we're gonna skip that for now, maybe. Maybe not. Let's see if I can do that. We're probably gonna skip that. Normally they would be like, come on. Normally there would be a little like plus button in here. You would click it, and actually it may not like the full screen. Let's see. Demo. Nope. I don't know. But normally there is a little button there to add emoji. You'll have to trust me on this one. It does it. Yes.
When you scroll the whole way down that list of emojis at the bottom, it
Yes,
never views them?
but yes, that opens it up in like the web app.
Oh, okay.
Like not like you should be able to add them from the application itself, and it's not doing it for me right now because demo gods are not appeased this morning. We did not save the chipmunk, so the chipmunk spirit is haunting us this morning. But normally you would be able to take a picture, add it right in there, give it a name, and use it instantly anywhere within the Slack instance. So we're gonna have to skip that. I'm gonna hand it right back over to dear Alex.
So, all right, you now know about emojis. You now know what the dolphin means. I feel like you guys have come a long way since we started here. But now we're going to get a little serious, aka not serious at all. Slash commands. They're really, really fun, actually. This makes them sound really boring. They are run from the composition field. So basically, where you type stuff. They can trigger Slack apps or processes, and they are a powerful substitution for GUI commands. Some of the top, I do have a top list for when it comes to slash commands. Probably I think it would be the most used one, or the one most used by me, slash Giphy, or Jiffy. Let's not have that argument right now. It'll insert a random GIF into the channel. You have to give it a word, so it'll give you suggestions. We're going to go over that because, of course, we're going to go over that. Slash mute, it will mute the channel that you're in. Now, it also has the ability to, if you tell it a channel, it can mute to that channel. So, like, when I was in a situation where I sat through and I scrolled through all of the Slack channels and added a whole bunch of them because I'm just interested in so many different things, I I needed to quickly start muting a whole bunch of them. And this kind of makes it really easy because I can just do /mute the channel, /mute the channel, /mute the channel, and mute all the channels that I needed to, and leave the ones that I wanted to hear from notifications open. And you just use the same command to reverse it. /DND. You know, you're probably thinking about dice, but in this case, it is enabling or disabling do not disturb, because sometimes you just want to like just hide away from everyone and just be like, no, the servers are definitely working right now. /active when you're finally ready to face the music, and /topic you can, as Tux was showing earlier, setting a channel topic, you can actually just do this from a / command. So we're going to demo some / commands. So as I said earlier, it's super easy to start a / command. All you have to do is add /. Right away, you'll see a list of all the commands that we have available to use. You can also just do it this way, type it out. So we're going to do Giphy. We're going to do cheesy goodness. And, okay. So you see right here, oh, wow, I see a couple of people have already jumped on the Giphy train. When you type that in, you're going to see the only visible to you, that Slackbot letting you know, hey, I didn't post this yet. You can choose it. And all we have to do is click shuffle. It's going to shuffle through a couple of them. You can see right here, it didn't really get what I was like looking for. It's not always going to be 100% accurate.
You type chessy instead of cheesy.
Oh, that's gonna really. Sometimes it's just better to keep it easy. So I'm gonna go with this one right here. Just give me some damn cheese. And you probably imagine by how much I've talked about cheese, how happy I was that we've had a whole bunch of cheese at the food place. So when it comes to some other / commands that I didn't show on the slide, /leave, if you want to leave a channel, you can just do it with / command. Before you do that / command, you could use the dolphin just to let people know, especially if there's a conversation going. You want to let them know that it's not because of you guys, it's because of me. You could also just shrug. So easy. But two of my favorite ones that I'm going to show you. Cat fact. Got a random cat fact today. When your cat brings home... Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, that's probably not the best one for a presentation. but maybe /late will be kinder to me. Come on, /late. My horse had to buy some flowers whilst chasing butterflies. Yeah, so if you just want to send that out to people, are like, where are you? Just do that. So that's kind of like just a little primer on / commands. They're really easy. Again, all you have to do is do /. It gives you what information it needs to actually run. And yeah, I go crazy. Just try them all out. That's how you learn them. But we're going to go back to my friend Tux, who's going to talk about how do we, we're not getting rid of cheese. Don't get rid of cheese.
I'm going to get rid of cheese.
No.
We have too much cheese. All right, so how do we delete a channel? Well, we really can't delete channels, even though how much I want to delete cheese. We're stuck with cheese. But we can archive it. So whenever a channel is archived, it basically hides it from the listing, it kicks everybody out of it, and it makes the channel read-only. Now, I myself cannot archive cheese. I'd have to contact an admin. Probably the best way of doing this is ask about the Slack. So, hey, can somebody archive cheese? And they're usually pretty quick, and they'll archive it for you. So what about private channels? Well, you can certainly archive those too. Pretty much the same process, except you need to invite an admin to it. And then that admin can then archive the channel for you. And then around I'd say around December of last year, they turned on auto archiving. So what is auto archiving? Auto archiving will take a channel that's been idle for 90 days and it'll automatically archive it. This is so that we don't keep getting more and more and more channels that nobody uses. Because why would we have a big house full of empty rooms? We don't want that, so we get rid of the rooms. And you can prevent this from happening by adding %no archive to the channel purpose, and then the auto archive bot will just skip right over it. And then maybe I made a mistake about archiving cheese because Alex really likes his cheese. So how do I unarchive it? Well, just like archiving a channel, only an admin can do that. So you have to ask them, and ask about the Slack, can an admin bring back cheese? They'll bring back cheese for you, and sometimes the users who were in there before will come back, sometimes not. I really haven't figured out how or why. It's all kind of like what Slack wants to do at that time. So we're going to demo this, but probably not actually kill out cheese, but we'll fake demo it. So we would go to ask about the Slack, and we'll ask, can someone archive cheese? So I'm not actually going to send that because we'd see an admin like, yes, I'm going to archive cheese. And they'll archive cheese, and then it'll be gone. And everyone will be kicked out, and Alex will be sad because cheese will be gone. And of course, I don't want to be making an admin's life difficult with frivolous things, so we're not going to actually archive cheese. I'm going to get rid of that message so we don't accidentally actually archive cheese. So now we're going to talk about Slackbot. And
You see that? I don't trust him. He's smiling too much. He's too happy. No, Slackbot he's all right. He's a built-in bot. So he's included with all Slack instances. He is used to send messages from the Slack system to users. He has a very, very simple AI. So don't think of him as like Google, like Home or Siri. He can't do any of that, I promise you. But he can do some fun stuff. He's mostly regaled to looking at the help center and kind of giving you information. So, but why the heck does this guy respond to me? It's usually either a custom auto response has been set, so the admins can actually set like, hey, if someone says this sentence, have Slackbot say something. And he can also warn of inappropriate behavior. It can happen sometimes. You're in the middle of a conversation, gets heated, you say something, Slackbot is like, hey, language, don't worry, he's just reminding you, he's not coming after you. He might be coming after me. But he can also be used to remind you of things. So in this demo that we're going to go over, now there's a lot of them. We're going to see how he can actually remind and kind of like how these like whole Slackbot things work. So Slackbot is right here. He loves you. He's going to give you some information. He's already told you that he will help you search the help center. So if I forgot how to format things. If I type in formatting, it's going to be like, hey, can I format? Or these are the articles that you can read about formatting messages. If the situation where I try to be like, help me make some dinner, he's going to be like, oh, he actually just said, yeah. Normally he'll be like, oh, I can't help you with that, but I guess dinner is enough to talk about channels. So, Slackbot. Let's go back to slash commands. So /remind. If you see right here, I'm going to leave it. I could have Slackbot remind me about certain things, so I could actually use this in my day-to-day work. So I want him to remind me to water the cat, because you always got to keep your cat watered, and it's going to be tomorrow at 9 p.m. Type that in. He's going to remind me to water the cat tomorrow at 9 p.m. Or, well, today, because I misspelled tomorrow. That's my fault. So do keep in mind, if you need to, you can view the reminders by clicking View Reminders. You actually do the /remind space and list, and that will show you reminders. And you can go ahead and delete reminders as well. So you see here, if it's grayed out like this, that means that you're only seeing it. No one else is going to see it. There's a couple of, or one interesting thing we can do. One of the Slackbot commands that I know about is, hi Sarah, me, please. I actually don't have an extensive list of these commands, but it's one of those situations where it's a custom auto response. So if you do, hi Sarah, me, please, he will tell you how to upgrade to hi Sierra if you can't use Mojave. So that's really it. Slackbot is super simple. Keep those queries to a minimum, but he can be very helpful with a whole bunch of things. So bye-bye, Slackbot. And that's kind of the tutorial part of things. I'm going to give it back to Mac Lamer, who's going to talk about Slacks and the good practices that you should stick to. Are you there, Lamer? I summoned thee.
Wait, no, really, I'm here. I'm awake. So these are just some of the good practices. They're really common sense. Like, don't post a large wall of text. Alex showed you how to use snippets. Most of us were using Slack on our phone. We can't scroll through 1,000 lines. It makes no sense. Don't post unformatted code. Enclose it again, as Alex mentioned, with the little quotation marks, because copying and pasting unformatted code gets messy. Then your scripts break, and we all have a bad day, and we take the cheese away from Alex. Self or vendor promoting. You really shouldn't promote vendors unless there's a question that's been posted. Like, I'm having trouble, Jamf, can Monkey Report do something? Otherwise, vendor promoting should be put in the appropriate channels. And most importantly, don't be a bully. Be nice and work appropriate. If you're a bully, the academic community is very social. We'll kind of know what, if you're being inappropriate, and you'll get kicked out of Mac admins, and, well, you won't have access to all the cool stuff. And read the code of conduct that will tell you how to behave, and if you haven't read it, you read it, there's a line in there about you have to feed lemurs cheese, and that's a joke. So, how social is Slack? Slack is not only a tool for admins, it's become really a global community. We have members all over the globe. We have some in the States, Canada, New Zealand, France, the UK, Australia, just to name the ones that I know, and have interacted with. We've interacted with them or you could interact in real time with people across the globe. A great part of the social aspect is meeting up in real life. So I know that there are many people in various channels that have interacted with people, blog posts, and it's like, hey, we're in the boardroom, let's meet up. A great aspect of it is in the LGBT channel, there is a rule. If you're traveling and there's another Mac admin, let's say at PSU, you have to meet up. We should, that really is the rule. And there has to be a picture or it didn't happen. This has fostered a closer knit community. It also helps build professional and personal relationships. For instance, I'm remote. I wouldn't have been able to do this unless I've already met a lot of the admins beforehand. I'm like, well, how can we do this? How can we help her because she can't make PSU this year? Another part of the social aspect, the professional relationships, is being able to reach out to others for help. Not only going to various channels and saying, hey, Jimmy, so my VM isn't working. Can you help me? A great example of the social aspect of helping each other out is in the women's channel. I met some of them in real life, and they inspired me to create a women's intent group at my job. I hadn't a clue what to do. However, in the channel, I was able to ask women who are much smarter than I am, how do I do this? They gave me pointers and tips, and they put me in contact with people, and then I was able to scamper off, nibbling on cheese, and then create it at my company. That's just an example of just how powerful Slack is, not only to get your answers, but how social it can be. So we talked about stuff. What's a direct message? A direct message is basically like iChat, text messaging. You're basically chatting with up to 7 other users. You're notified in real time unless Do Not Disturb is on. And it's private with no admin access. So you can talk about whatever you want. You can talk about how much Alex really needs help with his cheese addiction. So now we get to some fun parts. Can I make a call with Slack? Well, clearly the answer is yes, because otherwise I wouldn't be talking to you now. You can make it over VoIP, over HTTPS on all platforms, whether it's Mac, Android, Windows, desktops, laptops, mobile. You can do screen sharing. However, that's now only limited to desktop applications. And now we're going to proceed into a demo of doing a call. So
All right.
I'm going to drop off this call, and the demo gods are very nice. Alex and Tux will agree to call me back. Talk to you guys soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Do we really need her back?
I don't know if we
Do
need
we?
to call it.
I don't know. I don't think we should. I don't think we should.
But she's gonna help us out with the rest of it.
Oh, yeah, she will. All right, so we're gonna go down here to direct messages, and there's Dear Ms. MacLeamer. And up here, we're gonna click on the phone button because we want to call her back because she's our third presenter, and it wouldn't be right to leave her out. So we're gonna call her. Of course, now it's loading. We're loading. Now we're calling her. This is cool because it's all free, and we don't need to get their phone numbers. We don't need to do Zoom. MacLeamer, can you hear us?
Lemur residents, how can I help you?
I'd like to order 1 large pizza, please, with pepperoni.
What kind of cheese would you like on it?
What kind do you got?
Anything you want.
I want all of it.
Swiss and Gouda.
Oh, that sounds very good in pizza. I would like both that, please.
Done.
All right. So can I see what the pizza would look like?
I believe we can.
Okay.
So we're going to click on share screen. And there's my screen.
Oh.
Oh, that's not a pizza. I feel lied to.
That's a very creepy pizza.
It's technically circular.
It is a circular pizza. So one of the things that Slack can do is screen sharing. And of course, I can take my little highlighter here and I can draw on some funky little eyebrows to our lemur. And on her screen, she sees eyebrows. I can give him a cool little hat if I wanted to, a little beanie hat, and I can color it in. And of course, now on her screen, she sees this, and she's no doubt shaking her head saying, "Why are you giving my lemur a hat?" Then she can also do video calls because we're on a desktop, so she can show us her camera if she wanted to, but I don't think she's done up her fur today. I don't know.
Yeah. She hasn't gotten groomed today. We should set a reminder for that later.
We can certainly set a reminder for that later, yeah. So that is how you do a call, and she just ended her screen sharing, and we're back in the call screen. Oh, now we're sharing.
No.
What are we doing? All right.
Okay.
All right, so we're back in Slack now, and now we're back in the demo. So how can you expand Slack? Well, because Slack is basically a giant web app, it's full of fun APIs and webhooks. This is all heavily documented in the Slack website. There's a lot of fun stuff to do. Nate here, he actually built this really cool bot earlier this week, I believe, that basically fills in the channel topics, creates Google Docs, and all this really, really cool stuff for all the PSU rooms, and that's all done using the API. So that was really cool. Another things you can do, you can make plugins and apps. So CatFacts is an app, and there are plugins such as the GitHub plugin. Jiffy is also a plugin. And now these things usually require an admin approval and or assistance. This is mostly so that that our Slack instance doesn't get filled up with a whole bunch of half-made apps or random test messages or just weird things. So we want to try to keep it somewhat professional and happy. So that's why all that happens. All right, so thanks for stopping by, and thanks for all the fish. And do we have any questions? No questions at all? Our presentation wasn't that good. We didn't cover everything.
What is your favorite or most useful plugin for Slack? Give me your number one.
I probably use the GitHub one a lot because that way I can see when people make new releases. In some instances, you can have it so that every time a new commit is made, it'll tell you, hey, here's a new commit. Let's look at it. And you can see things happen like in real time almost. And Alex, do you have any favorite ones?
No, I actually haven't used any of the plugins for.
You love CatFacts.
I do love CatFacts.
Mm-hmm.
So
How do the plugins work exactly? Oh, sorry. How do the plugins work exactly?
The
Like
plugins, most of them are hosted like on the Slack servers themselves, and they just interact internally with the Slack API. Some of them interact externally, such as the GitHub one, and that is a push webhook. And so GitHub will basically push to Slack and say, hey, this changed. Slack will take it, process it, put in the correct channel. So that's how the GitHub one works. And then CatFacts, it can either be preloaded in there, and then there are other ones where it'll reach out to an external API, pull in data, process it, format it, and stick it into the proper channel.
If I could answer
oh,
the part about favorites, plugins, or add-ins. At my job, we have ServiceNow and Box, so the ability to start using Slackbox in a help channel to get answers for staff, we've been experimenting with, and we found is very helpful. And then integration with Box. If we have a Teams channel, it's easy to just post links in there and have it updated. Those are some of the two that I have found to be helpful.
and I'll just add one more. It's just a simple webhook, but we use Zendesk at the place I work at, and so we actually have a ticket channel in Slack where anytime someone places a new ticket, it actually gets sent to the Slack channel. Obviously, that would be harder in larger environments, but we found that that's actually super helpful with us.
I'm new to Slack. Can you put that screen back up on how to join the Mac admin group?
Sure can. So towards the beginning. There we go. So you basically macadmins.org, not HTTPS because you'll get 404. So just macadmins.org, email address, you agree to code of conduct, and you're off and running. All right. Anyone else? No? All right. Well, then you all get to go 17 minutes early to get ready for Mountain Tussie. Hope you all have a fun time with the go-karts and all the other fun food and Rita's Ice and batting cages and going up and all that funness.
All right. See you, everyone. Thanks, Lemur.